That's the beauty of college athletics, that the aspect that we have 2 or 3 that are revenue producers, but we have 21, business units. So all that to be said, John, the dialogue and activity around national type structures really connected on and well read on. And there's a lot of intriguing aspects to that, while recognizing current structure, conference membership, ACC for us, and the positives that come from that. So does it affect the broader picture? Absolutely. Do we hedge, or do you have to try to plot things out and decision tree and scenario things out? Absolutely. Anybody that tells you exactly how it's going to go is lying. But back to the optionality for us and being well read and connected is part of the game, and those type of things that you reference are all very live and active right now.
Do you see 2030 as a possible inflection point, just because a lot of TV contracts, and then that's when the buyout drop off is? Obviously anything can happen, but is that a time to maybe look at?
I think there's a lot of logic to that, Chapel, for the reasons you ticked off. But I can't admit that there's a circle or anything on that. I think there's some naturality to that sure makes a lot of sense, but that's certainly not necessarily the mindset leading up to or even beyond that. Again, we're going to be great members of the conference we're in. I was actually thinking about this, and Jeff, I meant to talk to you earlier. Within the last 2 years, we've won 7 ACC championships, 7 different sports, meaning 7 different head coaches have won ACC championships of our 16 head coaches, so about half. So my point is, I'm not going to go down the competitive path other than to say, hey, we still have to be great within the ACC, which is an incredibly strong conference across the board, while still having national expectations across the board. And there's all kinds of different ways we can go about it within the ACC.
I think last month about scrutinizing expenses in your letter to the fans. I guess, what does that kind of look like for the athletic department when you're trying to reduce those costs while you're also trying to gain revenue at the same time?
Yeah, Darian, it's it's hard, and there's a lot of different, because we're all creatures of habit, and certainly, holy cow, coaches are that to a T. And, so how you, and it's always more, and we want to invest more and grow and growth mindset and continue to have higher and higher expectations on the field and off, support of our student athletes, while the game's changing. And so, how we travel, where we travel, how we schedule, administrative staff and support. I mean, admittedly, there's a lot of unfilled positions that we have administratively. I know we have some staff in the room, and a lot of us feel the brunt of that we have more and higher expectations of things we do and support we give and environment and experiences that we put on, while we need to manage the expenses and try to tighten the belt, so to speak. And so I don't mean to be so quaint as far as some of those business references, but we significantly look at how we deliver administrative support, what our student athletes need primarily, and then where there's efficiencies within the department, within campus, and how we deploy that. So while we are proud and have been so focused on revenue generation, that expense management is significant. And again, this gets back to we are no different and need to be a great part of the university. And there's a lot of that type of efficiency and lens from a higher ed standpoint. And so we need to do our part with that as well.
I got a question on numbers. So you said you had how many on scholarship now for next 275, 225?
We've had approximately 275 scholarships, and we're adding 150 going to 425.
Mm-hmm. Number of athletes you have in all the teams.
We've had last academic year, we had 592 student athletes, 21 sports, 16 head coaches, and about 275 scholarships, all supported by IPTAY. This upcoming academic year, approximately 425 scholarships, that's the plus 150. Our roster numbers, instead of 592, we anticipate to be right around 550. So that's indicative of roster limits being set, while also having the designated student athlete, the grandfathering notion. So while the student athletes that are designated, that are grandfathered in, obviously can still count, over the coming 3 years, we anticipate that roster attrition for us to get down to likely right around 500, maybe 490 student athletes is what the stated roster limits would be. So we're kind of stair-stepping down, right? 600 approximately to about 550 now, and we anticipate that to continue to attrition down to right around 500 probably in a couple, 3 years.
Coach can have walk-ons if they want. For instance, this is the new roster limit for basketball, 15.
It is.
There's 13 on our basketball roster right now. They're all scholarship.
That's right.
So if Coach wanted to add 2 more players, he could add 2 scholarship guys, or he could add 2 walk-ons.
That's correct. So that's right, Tim. There is no moratorium on walk-ons. Walk-ons in the future are effectively students on a roster that isn't fully funded or isn't fully scholarshiped. And so to your point with basketball, 15, we've given Coach Brownell, Brad's got 15 scholarships available, so he could add two more to the roster, and they could be on scholarship. Obviously, we have a financial, there's financial components to that we would manage. But the notion that can't have walk-ons, you can have walk-ons, but again, we are leaning into, as I've talked on significantly, scholarship expansion, and so most all of our sports are going to have fully funded, fully scholarshiped rosters. We don't have to do that, and again, there'll be coach discussion that we'll have along the way, but that's where the walk-on component would exist, if it's needed per sport.
Anything else for Graham?
Good stuff. Really, really appreciate you guys coming. We've heard a couple things out there. I know you guys are hanging here for a little bit while longer. Thanks for being here. I'll end where I started for what you guys do, how you go about it. I'm around, excited for the year ahead. Holy cow, let alone August 30th. So really, really appreciate it.